What's up, ladies and gentlemen? ChuckfinleLP Play Crash Team Racing Part 2. We are here in the Lost Ruins, beginning the Lost Ruins portion of the race. I guess of the racing, whatever you want to call it. I guess of the season. Now we're here with Coco Park. Have you noticed that there are actually two races that you can do? You can start off. You can either do Coco Park or another race that I won't. Not really spoiling, but I just won't talk about it just yet. But this is where things will begin to get harder. The other racers will try and will try a little bit more, and it will be harder to lose them initially, even if you have the speed boost, the super speed boost pads. It'll be a lot harder to lose them than it was back in Insanity Island. So you have to definitely be ready for it, and if you're good at using the speed boost, it's definitely a time to use it. The power slide boost, that would definitely be a good time to use it. And if you've noticed me sometimes get a pretty good boost off of the boost pads by using the power slide boost right as I touch a speed or a boost pad, that will definitely give you a pretty good boost, better than what you could get normally. Something that will slow you down, however, is if you use the power boost right as you come off the ramp or before you get up to the ramp. Sometimes that will affect you. Now these red Brio beakers will affect you in three different ways. One will make it seem like you're driving on ice, which means you will not have any grip whatsoever. You'll just be sliding around, and you have a better chance of actually sliding out. One is where it'll act like you're riding on a bumpy surface like this. Or there's also, the third one is it will change whatever power up you have. So say if you have a missile and then you hit that, you have a very high chance of losing that missile and then it going into something else. It's random which you'll get next, but you have that chance. And I don't think any of them will stack up together. I think it's you either get one of those three.
A trophy. You can go faster through turns by power sliding. To access the power slide, press and hold the R1 button while turning hard.
That just explains the power slide, and pretty late in the game. We're already about 5 races in. But it definitely does help, getting around really tight corners, especially if you're not someone who can maneuver around tight corners like Dingo or Tiny. But it's not a for sure cure for Dingo or Tiny. You're still going to have handling issues, and it's going to be harder to go around really tight turns with Dingo and Tiny, and even with Crash and Cortex. You can't get around every single tight turn or tight corner like you could with, say, Pura or Polar. Now, this track, you have a very high chance of getting past easily, especially if one of the other competitors has a missile or a string of missiles. You can actually end up losing quite a bit of time at the start, so you want to be very careful. You want to be careful about doing that. You don't want to get too close to the nitro because the blast radius can actually trap you as well, so you want to be very careful about when and where you lay the nitro down so close behind somebody. That's just one of the few really good lines around through those tunnels. But anyway, if you notice, all of these tracks have some certain theme to them. Usually, whatever the track has, whether it be like those tiki heads from Crash 2. While they're not the exact same, those are more golden than the ones from Road to Ruin and Ruination levels 14 and 19. You can see those are kind of golden there. They still act pretty much the same. They will shoot fire at you if you're not careful. They do it on a time thing instead of whether instead of how close you are to the statues, so you don't have to worry about well, if I get in too close, will I get burnt? That's not going to happen. You just have to make sure that you be careful about getting too close to them. Now, some other things I haven't pointed out control-wise. If you hit the L2 button, you can change the camera angle, so it's more of a while you're looking farther away from, instead of, I guess, not quite isometrical, but it's not quite top-down either. It's kind of somewhere in the middle between third person and top-down, somewhere in there. And if you hit R2, you can look behind you. Definitely very useful for laying down traps like a nitro, just to make sure that you don't get too close to somebody. This will happen sometimes, and if we've already seen Tiny and Engine on the podium before, except I believe they were reversed last time. I don't think they've been on the podium in this order before.
Win a trophy. To get a turbo boost while power sliding, wait until the smoke from your exhaust turns black. Then press the L1 button. If you wait too long, you'll hear a backfire sound and miss your chance for a boost.
Now you see there, he said to use the L1 button. I believe you can also use the R1 button as well. I've never actually tried that before, just because it works better for me to use the L1 button as the boost button and to hold down the R1 button. That just works better for me. But I'll see if you can actually do that here. Now this is another track where you can, if you're not careful, you can actually get bogged down at the start as well and end up losing several positions if you're not careful. Now the key to getting around this section really fast is you want to, especially if you're not using someone that can turn really good, you have to do a combination of power sliding and hitting the brakes. If you hit the brakes, they will, and I'll show this off once I get to the world map, but that will allow you to brake even tighter than you normally would. Of course, you will lose quite a bit of time compared to using the just doing the power slide, but it definitely does help, and especially going around this final corner. If you miss the entry up, if you don't swing out wide just before entering the final corner, that definitely will hurt. Now, if you notice what I did there with the Brio Beaker, you can actually throw those in front of you by pushing up on the directional buttons or the left analog stick, and you can throw them in front of you. It's not that useful. It definitely it hurts you more than it actually helps, so it's really up to you whether you want to or not. It's kind of a waste to me, just because I like to lay them down behind me instead of throw them in front of me and, as I said, waste them. And I'm going to miss the entry there. You want to be careful not to bounce off that back wall. That will hurt you more often than it will help. And some of these tracks do have shortcuts. Not every single track. That's just one of the two shortcuts around here that you can use. This next one, you have to get a lot of speed and hit the jump button at the exact right spot. And there's no way I can get it now. I don't have quite enough speed, but you can jump across that gap and miss those final two turns, and it will definitely save quite a bit of time, which is I think it works for the relics. I've never actually tried. I've just done the track normally while going through the relics. I don't know if it really works or not. It very well may. No, I'll give it a shot while I'm doing the relics here. Yeah, I think we've seen this one before, so I'll go ahead and skip this. You can skip this by hitting the start button.
Win a trophy. To get around a tight turn, or to face a direction quickly. Use the brake slide by pressing and holding the square button while turning hard.
And I can show that off here. You just hit the brakes, and you can do a 180 pretty easily. You can get around really tight corners if you need to. It does lose a little bit of speed, but if you can do it right and at the right times, you can actually gain time instead of bouncing off of a wall, like with Papu's Pyramid, going around that final corner on top of the ruin. That'll definitely help you out. But you just have to make sure that you get everything perfect while using it to make sure that you save time. But this is another bad track as well. If you end up getting hit by an enemy's just by something that the enemy drops, you can actually lose quite a bit of space there as well. Pretty much every track here in the Lost Ruins, you will lose time in one. If you can actually get bogged down at the start if you're not careful. Now that's a pretty good hole. If you can get it right, you can catch up to one or two cars. The lane, you have to make sure that the only way you see, I think I've got two cars there, Polar and Engine. That's that blast radius, which definitely helps. You don't even have to catch two cars in the same line as long as they're right beside each other. When the nitro hits, it works. The Brio Beakers don't work quite as well as the nitro crates do. So it's really up to you whether you want to even bother laying down a nitro crate or a Brio Beaker. You have to get it pretty far up, or pretty far. Well, pretty much you have to lay it right on the boost pad for it to work, because so that will slow them down enough so that they will miss the opportunity to get a boost, or so that they don't carry enough speed to get over the canyon. And so I really don't even worry about laying one down if I get a Brio Beaker. I kind of have to drop it right there so that they're spinning so that they spin over the boost pad instead of using the boost pad to gain some speed. And you saw there that I definitely messed with the end of the race by hitting Cortex and Dingo. But that's just some of the fun things, that helps. It helps make the racing more fun. Is if you know the racing lines, you can mess with quite a few people. But we've already seen this before, so I'm gonna go ahead and skip it. We've already seen Coco and Pura.
Papu much tired of watching puny slugs race so slow. Papu want in action to lay boom down big and prove Papu is world's best driver. Papu moves so fast, you much drags.
And so this is the first time Papu has had a voice actor. He was, for the most part, silent in Crash 1. He did, I think, groan when Crash woke him up. But, he had a voice actor in Brendan O'Brien there, was with every character that did as well. Now, what Papu does is he lays down Brio Beakers. And you can actually get lost behind him as well, and that's kind of where the boost comes in. He usually stays to the middle of the track for the most part, because those man-eating plants that we've seen in plant levels like Plant Food and Hang 8, that's where those came from, and they will eat you and they will slow you down significantly. And so Papu will stay in the middle of the race, and you can hear the Brio Beakers blowing up behind me. You have to be careful, with Papu so close. You don't really have to worry about things blowing up outside of maybe Brio Beakers. I don't think nitro crates and Brio Beakers are tied together. They very well may be, though. I laid a nitro where it should have hit him, so I think they are tied together. You can see that some of the ones that I'm laying down, some of the nitros that I'm laying down that Papu isn't hitting is blowing up. So very well may be. The blast radius for the Brio Beakers isn't very wide, and they only affect one person, but when they blow up, they may affect more than, they may blow up any other explosive crates around them. And I'll try that, I'll try this again, this shortcut. You don't have to take that first shortcut to be able to get around here, you just have to make sure that you carry enough speed and that you jump in the right spot, kind of right before you get over the very edge of the wall. And it saves you about 2 seconds, but it definitely helps. If you can hit everything right and perfect. The biggest thing that will help you is if you can tap the brakes in midair to position yourself so that you're kind of going into a power slide as soon as you land, and you don't have to go too wide or have the ability to fall off the track. That will definitely help you out and make it a lot safer and a lot easier to get over. So that you can immediately start getting into the power slide and help save yourself some time. But you can see Papu's losing animation there.
Papu not himself today. Maybe Papu not eating a big breakfast. You are fast for be so small. Here is key to help. Oxide much bigger problem for you. Him not as big, but him much more grumpy.
Now, something that I'd forgotten to mention during the Papu boss fight is that he does lay down two. He lays both kinds of Bio Breakers down. I don't remember. I keep calling them Bio Breakers. Brio Beakers. I don't remember the exact pattern that he uses to lay them down. But I know he does lay both types down. But anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I'll talk about the trivia and everything, like I normally do for the races that I've done and any boss battles that I've done as well. And I'll just sit here in the, I guess, whatever you want to call this. Let's see. Alright. Okay, let me see. Alright, so we'll start with Coco Park. Coco Park is a track and crash team racing. As its name may suggest, it is Coco Bandicoot's home track. It appears in the Green Gym Cup and the Wumpa Cup, which, as I said before, is a arcade tournament you can do. No trivia and anything like that, so I'll go ahead and go to Tiger Temple. Tiger Temple is the 6th track and crash team racing, and it is Pura's home racetrack. It is small, bumpy. It is a small, bumpy track that resembles a J, based on the ruin levels of Crash 2 with flame-throwing stone idol heads as obstacles. It is in the Wumpa Cup and the Blue Gym Cup. About halfway through the track, marked on your map, is a large stone face in the wall on the left. Shoot any weapon other than a TNT Nitro crate or turbos at the mouth of the face, or have an Aku Aku Ukuga mask. The mouth will open and you can drive straight through the shortcut. You can also do this if you have a shield. If a TNT Nitro is placed on the mouth, when open, it'll stay open until destroyed. In Relic Race, it's stuck open for convenience. And I wasn't going to talk about that or show it off because I do have to go back through it later on when I come back through to this track, so it doesn't really matter whether I did or not. Some fans mistake this track as being Tiny Tiger's home track due to the track's misleading name. They are confusing this with Tiny Arena, which is Tiny's actual home track. The name also sounds like Tiny Temple, but this track did not appear until Crash Nitro Kart. So we'll go to Papu's Pyramid now. Papu's Pyramid is the home track of Papu and Crash Team Racing. It and the Battle Arena Rampage Ruins are based upon the levels Lost City and Sunset Vista from Crash Bandicoot, as the faces on the side of the walls are the same as the ones on these levels. It is also where Papu is raced. It is in the red as well as the red and purple gym cups scattered throughout the course are Venus flytraps, which devour racers that get too close. shortcuts. The track has 2 shortcuts, which can be very good to get you from last place to first place. All of them are on the second half of the track. The first and third shortcuts are demonstrated in videos below. The second is on a platform to the left of the jump after the first shortcut, where you can get extra 1 fruit if you need it. It is very difficult to achieve both on the same lap. Now that shortcut I didn't go purposely because I don't view it as a shortcut. I find that going underneath the bridge is a lot better, but I will show it off. Anyway, it is possible to jump off a wall near the start and land at the finish line, but the game will not count it as a lap. Huh, I didn't know that. Alright, so we'll go to Dingo Canyon next. Dingo Canyon is the 8th track featured in the game Crash Team Racing, and this is Dingo Dial's home track, incorporating a rugged outback look and theme to represent an Australia-like environment. It contains little water-tall, awkward, and rocky cliffs and cacti which dot the landscape. Due to the fact that there is an actual marked road on this track, it may be possible that this level is also based off the Crash Bandicoot 3 warped motorcycle-themed levels. The structure and design of this level direct reflect the battle arena. Rocky Road, also in CTR, the main enemies, obstacles in the levels are armadillos, very similar to the ones from Crash Bandicoot 2. The armadillos consistently roll from one side of the track to the other in various locations throughout the level. The Yellow Gem Cup is the home of Dingo Canyon, and is also in the Crystal Cup in arcade mode. The music used in Dingo Canyon was remixed and used as the theme music for Blizzard Bluff, which is a track in this area. And so we'll take a look at the Papu race. Papu appears in Crash Team Racing as the second boss in the game. His home track is Papu's Pyramid. He throws both green and red beakers to try to slow his opponent down. Like Tiny, Dingo, and other characters, Papu is a speedy racer. At the expense of bad turning and acceleration, he can be unlocked by completing the green gem. His stats are 5 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and 2 out of 5. Speed, acceleration, and turning, in order. So he's a little bit better at turning than Dingo and Tiny, and I think a little bit better at acceleration, but his thing is top speed overall. But anyway, so that's all the trivia and everything. So I thank you for watching. The challenge of the video is how many people got eaten by the plants when I did Papu's Pyramid for my first time. I thank you for watching. Next time we will do the Glacier Park section, which is probably on Intensity Island by the looks of it. Because of the snow and everything being there. And I want to take a look at one more thing just to make sure that I can't actually... I'll see if this is actually... Okay, there, yeah. Okay, but anyway, so... Until then, later, everyone.